Well, good evening. Happy Monday to everyone. This is Charles, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, where connections matter, bringing you interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. Thank you for joining us on this live Monday, August the 8th, 8 p.m. Hopefully, everybody's got off to a good week. If you are joining us live, want to encourage you. First of all, thank you for watching this live broadcast. We have a very special guest. It's what I call Authors Week. Yesterday, we did a dynamic Detroit author, and today we have an award winning author that we're going to talk to tonight. But those who are joining us live on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, I just want to say thank you. And I encourage you to share this feed, like and share this with your friends, family, associates, or people you may know who are looking to publish a book, to get into writing, marketing, and tips on how to independently publish a book and or even if you have a book, how to better market that book. And our guest is going to share her journey. So again, thank you for tuning in to this live broadcast, and thank you if you're going to watch the playback on YouTube, LinkedIn, or on our business page on Facebook at Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. So I'm excited. I'm going to do a formal introduction to our guests. Um, so, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is a licensed minister. She's a certified relational relationship coach and an award-winning author, national bestseller author of her novel, He's Fine, but Is He Saved? That's the title. He's Fine, but Is He Saved? She's written more Christian novels and relationship books that empower and inspire singles. She's the founder of Kim Brooks Ministries International. She is also a Christian online dating coach whose purpose is to facilitate healthy relationships among Christian singles. Our next guest, she has a private Facebook group that reaches over 37,000 women in her private Facebook group. 37,000 women. That's that amount of people is bigger than some cities in Michigan. Did you know that? 30, some of small towns don't even have 37,000 people, and that is in her private group. She's encouraging and blessing with her content. Um, Her support group is called Single Save Celibate with Kim Brooks, and she does daily devotionals. She has a YouTube channel, I believe over 7,000 subscribers. She does a lot of speaking engagements and live engagements. She was a columnist for Gospel Today. She's made appearances on the Word Network, also featured in Ebony and Essence magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who I'm talking about, I am talking about the one and only Minister Kim Brooks.
Hey, Charles McKay, how are you?
I'm
Great.
doing well. Yes. So before we get into all the questions, I'd like for you to share with the audience a little bit about yourself, whatever you feel comfortable with, where you're from, who you with, your background, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on, number one. I really appreciate that. Well, as I've shared before on my Instagram, I'm just a Detroiter with a dream. I've always dreamed of being a published author ever since I was in first grade. I used to write short stories about boys, and I used to read Sweet Valley High books and Beverly Cleary books. My aunt was a head librarian downtown Detroit, and ever since I was born, pretty much she gave me and my sister and my cousins a book, every year. And for me, it stuck because I believe it's part of the purpose and plan God has for me because I love to write. So let me see how fast. We're not going to go that well. We're going to go to maybe, okay. So ministry school, I came out of that in about 04 for my class of 04, BTC, Bible Training Center. And right after that is actually where I was led to write my first novel. As you know, Charles, I have 6 paperback books, 3 Christian fiction novels, 3 nonfiction ministry-based books, and then a couple exclusive only ebooks that were written and published in the span of 10 years. The novels were published traditionally by New York publishing houses such as Simon & Schuster, BET Books, and then my nonfiction books were published by my own publishing company. And shout out to Sylvia Hubbard, because I know you had her on the show yesterday, and she was the one, when I had the desire to write, she was the one. I went to her workshop. I was a budding author, and I was just knew I wanted to write my first book. And she was the one who let me know. I had asked a question. I said, well, can I do both, fiction and nonfiction? And she's like, yes. So she empowered me that way. So stepped out on faith. Growing up in Detroit, it's not like we have extra money laying around. So I literally stepped out on faith, used a credit card coming out of Michigan State. They're throwing credit cards at you. And I used that to self-publish my first novel. And back then there was no print on demand. There was no, you can pay $100 and here's some books. I literally had to go through a book manufacturer.
Wow.
And at least, because, you had to have a minimum of at least 1,000 books. So it was a faith move, put it on a credit card, put myself on a book tour, different women's expos, Mega Fest, did well there. And, God took over. So that's why, as I minister to mainly single women about purpose, you want to give God something to work with. Faith without works is dead. And just any step towards what God puts on your heart to do, he'll add to it. He'll add it to your natural effort. So that's what I did. It became a bestseller within 2 years, sold thousands and thousands of copies across the country, and was even featured in Borders and Barnes and Noble. In Borders is closed now, and also Barnes and Noble's as a self-published book, which is pretty much unheard of, because I initially self-published it before I got the book deal with BET Books. I initially self-published it. So, and then did a 2-book deal, and then I continued to publish through my own publishing company. And so here we are.
All right. I appreciate that. So that was a really good kind of synopsis of your journey in self-publishing. So as a kid, you said you started exploring writing and writing stories about boys. Now, what was it about you? How did you cultivate your passion for writing?
I was always, I guess, nerdy kid, I love learning. I love reading. I love imagining. And that's what I talk a lot about, even as adults. I feel like a lot of us have lost our ability to dream and imagine. And that's where everything happens. The word talks about write the vision, make it plain. Well, the vision, God gives you the vision. And so you have to see it first before it's manifested. And so growing up, I have one sister, she's 10 years older. She kind of had her friends that she was hanging out with. And I was like home writing. I would draw. I like to draw, I like to do poetry. And I would play with my dad as he shined his shoes. I had 4 imaginary friends.
Okay. All right.
So I always, oh Lord, this is giving me a glare. I'll just take this off. I've always imagined things. I've always done things that way, and I love to write. So, yeah.
Now, what inspired you to do your? Now, what was your first? Was your first book the fictional book? He's fine, but is he saved?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first book you self-published in 2004. Is that?
Yeah, that's this one.
Okay.
Let's see.
It's a little glare. There it is. Okay. Now, how did you come up with that concept to write that the script for that, for the manuscript for that book?
So I would go to morning prayer at my church from about 6 to 7 a.m. And I wasn't even thinking about the book, to be honest. And I was just praying for others, praying in the spirit. And then the Lord just said to me, he said, Kim, that book you're going to write? And so I laughed, because it was almost like God was being assumptive. He's like, that book you're going to write? I hadn't written a page. And I said, yes, Lord. He said, I want you to call it, he's fine, but is he saved? And I
Okay.
said, okay. And so I just wrote the name down in my journal, and that was it. When God said something, that's it. And
Okay.
so the concept is three friends all on different spiritual levels, spiritual journeys, and in their walk. Because in God, it's like you
Right.
a baby Christian at one point, you're
Yes.
a pure believer at one point. And so Sandy's character represents the baby. So she's kind of
Okay.
like, she loves men, she loves the attention she gets from men, but she also is a new believer. So she loves the Lord. So she's kind of like battling between the flesh and spirit. And
Yes.
then on the other end is Liz, who's kind of like the super saved. She don't need
Yes.
no man but Jesus, and so she's
Right. Right.
skeptical about men. And then in the middle is Michelle, and she's the glue of the three friends. She's like the mature
Okay.
believer, the balanced one. And so she ends up dating the church, undercover church player. And it I don't want to
Okay.
give it away, but just the journey that
All
they,
right. All right. All right.
yeah.
So that's a nice concept. She created the Lord gave you the vision in the midst of prayer, and you came up with these characters, and you wrote the characters out. And yeah, it's funny. We I did have Sylvia Hubbard on yesterday, and she talked about her writing process, and she writes whenever she has free time, and she carries these little notebooks like these, one of these joints right here. She's on her phone and stuff like that. Did you now for your writing process? Do you set aside a block time to write, or it just comes to you in different parts? Or
So I outlined first. I'm not sure, like when she first has a new, Sylvia's written tons. She's just writing.
she just says she's constantly writing,
She cranks
and
it
then she puts it together. She
out.
doesn't start with an outline. It's just
Yeah,
a
and
concept of a story comes, and then she builds around it.
so
Yeah.
some of my author colleagues, like Sylvia and others, it's whichever you pick.
Right.
I like to outline. I like to have I call it like a compass or roadmap, so I know at
Right.
least beginning, middle, end for my novels. But the
Right.
cool thing with novel writing is like as you're writing, you can know where it's gonna go, but the characters take on a life of their
They
own.
take on a life of their own. Yeah, I can imagine that. The
Yeah,
characters take on a life of their own.
I get really connected emotionally with my characters. And
Yeah.
I remember this one time I was writing about one of my characters in my novel, She That Findeth. And this character, Danielle, she was having a tough time. She just lost her job. Her car was about to be repoed. And she came from a lifestyle on the streets, like in the pole dancing arena. And then she
Right.
got saved and went into the church. And so she's like, Lord, I don't want to. So her temptation was to go back to her
Your
former
old lifestyle. Okay.
money because she was having so many challenges. And I think she had just gotten a slip, about to lose her place. And that was the end of the chapter. I always like to do cliffhangers at the end of my chapters. And then at the end of the chapter, it was like, and I just literally typed it out and I was like, oh, man, Danielle is going through a lot. It's like I
Yeah.
took on her burden, and as empath, that's what we do. We take on others' burdens, and so I view my characters as real people, kind of
Okay.
like
It's real people.
my girl,
Right.
my imaginary friends. They were
Yeah.
my friends, and so if the author can feel it, whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction, then the reader will feel it. So the author
Okay.
has to feel it first. There were scenes I would write and I would find myself crying.
Wow.
And the readers would tell me, man, I'd cry, and that's
All right.
what you want.
Okay. Now that's very interesting for those who are watching and writing fictional books, and your characters take on a life of their own. But you said something very key. You said if you can feel it yourself, then the readers will feel what you feel when they experience the book, when they read the book.
That's what I
That's
found
right.
over the years, and that's the
Yeah.
feedback I love to receive. And even
Right.
with nonfiction, I have a lot of because as you know, Charles, I'm also a book coach, and I have a lot of
Right.
clients who are writing nonfiction books, telling about their own story, and a
Right.
lot
Right.
of it is very traumatic what they've gone through. But I share with them, let it be a time of healing for you as you're writing it,
Mhm.
and you may have to feel those emotions you felt from what you went through before, but
Okay.
that's okay because as you heal, others will heal, the reader,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and that's
Now,
okay.
okay. And I want to backtrack because I want to. It's great that we had Sylvia on. We got you on today, and you touched on something very interesting because she started before print on demand, and you started. And so, my understanding, you had to put up money up front to get your, because the machines were so, you know, there were some of them could fill up a house, the printing machines, and you had to pay for 1,000 copies. Is that correct
Yeah, at least
for
a
your
thousand.
first? And I think there's almost like a $10,000 or more. Some cases it's 50,000, 10,000.
Well, because you're getting more volume of books. See, with print on
Right,
demand, they charge more per book because you're getting less printed at a time.
right, right.
So with the print on demand, you may get 100 copies, but you may pay $6 or $7 a copy. Well,
Okay,
if you're getting 1,000 copies, then I paid about $3.50 a copy.
okay,
So that's the offset.
all
Now
right.
the
Well,
book.
you have all these books. What was your first order? Was it like 10,000 books, or what was your?
So my first novel was 1,000, and that's what I suggest for anyone.
Oh, okay,
Have to test the market first. I
okay,
I know someone who ordered 10,000 for her first print run. I definitely do not advise that because you don't know if
okay. What?
it's gonna do. And so
Right.
eventually I did do 10,000 print runs, but that's after I saw there was
You
demand.
saw there was a
After
demand.
started to order cases, and then I did have to do 10,000
Now,
print.
did you come up with your own cover art, or you paid, or did you have an editor also, or did you edit? How did
So
you do the edit?
cover, I
Okay,
did something a little different. I don't know if you can see it, but and it's on Amazon. You can see the cover better there. But I actually did a photo shoot. I did a photo shoot with the three ladies. I gave them wardrobe
oh,
and
your characters. Okay,
my characters. I kind of picked them out. So I did something a little different. We had like an all-day photo shoot, and
okay,
Latanya Orr, she designed the cover. You can't really
okay.
see it, but it just says he's fine. Yeah, she designed it. Oh
Let me
wait,
see better. It's a little glare.
there
Oh,
we
you
go.
can see it better right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so she designed it. This is actually there's actually a man back there, and it's
Mhm.
like he's shadowed out.
Okay.
His physique is shadowed out. And but what most people do, and even now, times are different. You have more options now.
Okay.
So, you could either purchase, use like a royalty free type stock photo,
Okay.
or you can buy a stock photo, but you have to make sure you buy it where you get the license so that
Yes.
you don't come off any, copyright strikes and somebody like, you're using my image. So
Right. Right. Right.
Dreamtime.com,
Okay.
ustock.com. You can go there and find images that you can use for your cover. And then also
Okay.
there's good old Fiverr.
Yeah. Everyone's using Fiverr now for editors,
Yep. I
and
would I wouldn't recommend Fiverr for an editor for your full manuscript though.
okay. Why is that?
I think I like them for shorter editing projects because you get someone from overseas, which is why they're so inexpensive because your dollar is longer there. But me personally, for an editor, I prefer someone US based, and so
Yes.
I would use like Upwork.com.
Upwork. Okay.
Either pay them per hour or you can offer a flat rate, offer them between $300 to $500 or whatever, and
Yes.
then agree to it and go through it that way for the editing, because the
Right.
editing, unfortunately, Fiverr, because a lot of people are from other countries, they may not be super well with English.
With the English. Okay.
But whoever you pick though, I recommend actually I recommend a sample edit of at least the first couple pages. So if you
Right.
have 2 or 3 editors in mind
Yeah.
and you're asking them their rate, you can also say, can you do a
Sample.
free sample edit of a
Okay.
page or two, just to kind of see their editing style.
Yes.
And then there's also different kinds of editors. You have the proofreading editor, who is
Yeah.
kind of like the typical just for the wording and the grammar. And then you have the an organizational editor. So like if you feel like I've never written a book. Here are my thoughts down. I'm not sure how they can be organized or what should go where. Then you would pay a little more for an organizational editor. So
Right,
but
right, right.
I mainly use proofreading type editors.
Proofreading. Okay, that's correct. Thank you for breaking it down. So when you did your you did your cover, you self-published, you got 1,000 copies. So how did you market? I mean, was you just pulling up and you had cars in your trunk? People was coming out of church, say, "Hey, I got this book." I mean, you just like sell like how people used to sell mixtapes back in the day out their trunk. So was you
Out
doing
in the
you pulling
street.
up on church conferences and business meetings and conventions and just how did you market?
I kind of like put myself out there. I did a lot of e-blasts using different companies nationwide. And what I found was, like, for example, I use and I love, shout out to Vita Brown, I use blackgospelpromo.com. She was one of the first. Now there are several e-blast companies, like hundreds,
Okay.
but she was one of the pioneers. And it went out to, like, let's say 100,000 emails of different churches in my target audience. And
Okay.
from sending those out, I got a lot of speaking engagements.
Wow.
Honestly,
Wow.
just from, because when you become an author, and this is what I tell my clients, you have instant credibility about what
Instant
you write
credibility.
about.
Right.
And
Right.
so people want to bring in for their women's conferences or brunches or
Right. Right.
church events, they want to bring in an author. So I had speaking engagements come from that. And then I did a lot of radio interviews, podcast interviews,
Like today.
and also television. I did some television,
Okay.
not a whole lot, but I mean, just enough.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan of television. I mean, television's cool. It's just for some reason I like radio better. I don't know. I just did.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right. Okay.
yeah, but that's pretty much. But the key is consistency. So I would always be consistent, and then as you're sharing, and then you have to have your message.
Okay.
So whatever your message is, mine is, celibacy to marriage, da 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 da. So that's what I was going around and promoting and sharing,
Okay.
and that would open a door to the conversation, and then I would plug my book at the end.
Okay.
So that's pretty much. And then I did a lot of expos, a lot of vending.
Okay. A lot of vending. Okay.
I did your event. Oh my goodness, Charles, I hadn't done vending in a while, but
Oh.
it
Okay.
takes that in the beginning. I mean, that's what it takes to get your name out. I mean, when I did Mega Fest 2 years in a row, I sold 300 books the first year, more the second year, just from being there vending, and they had like 100,000 people when I went from
Right. Right.
countries. And so the women there, they ate that up. They saw that title. They was like, "He's fine. What does he say?" And they buying those books like
So
hotcakes. I had
I like.
I should have sold the T-shirts. I didn't listen to Goldfinger, who designed my T-shirts. I didn't listen to him. He's also a Detroit designer.
Okay.
People were asking for the T-shirt. So
Now let's contrast. So that's what you did with the first book on your marketing. You went to conventions. You used a company to do email blasts to several churches. That and you got on. I would assume like gospel programming, radio stations, and stuff like that. So what will be different today with social media and podcasting and all that kind of stuff? How would someone market their book, or how would you market your books today in contrast to what you did in 2004?
So the way I market my books today is, like you said, social media. Um, you're able to reach more people in a lot of cases. Let's say if you go somewhere in person, even to another state, to a church event, there may be 100 people at the event, which is great for the in-person, camaraderie. But online, you could have thousands at one time, or a few hundred at one time. I mean, now I'm currently growing my TikTok. I'm getting with the times with TikTok. I think I'm gonna really like TikTok too, because you could be a little more self-expressive, and I'm a little more controversial. And so that's at Hey Kim Brooks, HeyKimBrooks. Shameless plug. But yeah, so I'm growing that, and once I get to 1,000, then I can go live on TikTok and I can share there. For me, as you know, Charles, I mainly use it for ministry. I mean, that's the calling God gave me. It's always going to go back to that. And so I do the weekly Bible study on Friday through YouTube. And then I have the group, of course, Single, Saved, and Celibate with Kim Brooks. I minister and I'm there every day inside there. And that's why I love, for me, it's all about, and I'll share this even also for your viewers, today's time or way of marketing and promoting is all about building community and letting people into your world, documenting what you do when you go out, your activities, and they want to be a part of who you are. So they want to know, like I talk about, I have one sister, she's 10 years older, and I talk about how, God used me to I introduced her to her now fiance last summer. I met him at CVS and talked to him, and I was like, "You sound like you'd be great for my sister." So stuff like that. My sister knows that I'm sharing this stuff, and I talk about my dad. I was raised by a narcissistic dad, so I ended up dating a lot of narcissistic men, and I never knew for 40 years why. But now I know because I'm a daddy's girl. And I'm an empath, and so that's kind of like, so. I share that, and that's what you have to do now. Is because it's the key is authenticity. People don't just want to. Back in the day, oh my goodness, you could just have a catchy book title, a slamming cover, and have a little bit of credibility as an author, maybe a nice little mini bio on the back with a cool little picture, and people will buy your book, and that will be it.
Right.
Now it's not enough. People want to be able to touch, feel, hear.
Right. They want to
feel
like you said, create community. They want to feel they're a part of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome.
And I love it because you do it from your home. I mean, and then you just kind of show. Some people don't like it. Like I'm an extrovert, so I don't mind, But some people, they may be like, man, that's a little intrusive, or So, but that's where we are. I tell my clients that are aspiring authors, you must be on social media. It's not even an option anymore. You have to be on there. Pick a couple you like, whether it's Facebook and Instagram or TikTok, and just find where you resonate the most and where your audience is. So
so I appreciate you sharing just the difference what it was back in 2004 and what you do now with social media, creating community, connecting with people with that. I want to go into some other stuff that you do with your company, with helping other authors and your other things. And I think you got some other things you want to announce tonight. I'm going to take a quick announcement break, and then we'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Charles with Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. If you are finding value in today's video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. We would love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to click on that notification bell so you can be notified when we have upcoming episodes of difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. If you're interested in being a part of our Facebook networking community, I invite you to click on the link to be a part of that community. This is a place where you can network with like-minded people and a chance to share about your product or service. If you're interested in working with me directly on how you can share your story with video or with podcasting, you can email me direct at DetroitMetroPlug313@gmail.com. Thanks again, and let's get back to this interview.
All right, we're back. For those who are joining us, the first half hour, we're with national best-selling author Kim Brooks, certified minister. She published in 2004 her best-selling book, fiction, He's Fine, but Is He Saved? She shared her journey in writing and how she marketed her first book and share some tips on publishing today. And so now we're going to get into more what she does in terms of helping other authors and also the other projects she's working on. I don't know if you want to share a little about what you do with as a relationship coach and your women's group. So now, how do you what do you do specifically in supporting authors, and what kind of products or programs you offer?
So during the pandemic, the Lord actually put it on my heart to help authors write, self-publish and know how to market their book in 90 days. And so I've been book coaching for a while. It was just more informal with friends and family and stuff like that, meaning at the coffee shop type of deal. And so during the pandemic, God made it where I actually created a 12 to 14 week course for it. So I did Zooms with my clients. We did one-on-one once a week Zooms. I helped them. I gave them the accountability necessary to be able to write their book. We came up with the writing schedule. Every week I asked them what their word count is and where are they in their writing. So I was that weekly accountability. And then in between that, I showed them how to self-publish their book, like step-by-step hand-holding type of deal. And then I also showed them how to set up their book for sale on Amazon, and also how to position it to become an Amazon bestseller. And I did that within those 12 to 14 weeks. I also had a group session. I did about 3 enrollments for the group. It was a small, intimate group. And I gave them pretty much the same information, except the only difference was instead of the one-on-one Zooms, we did like a weekly conference call, and I shared in the group. And if they had questions, they would share in the group. So I did that, and I continue to actually. People still to this day message me if someone has a book idea or they want to have coaching. I do offer coaching like a la carte if they want to know mainly how to self-publish their book. I can show them that in 4 weeks versus the 12 weeks. And then I have existing authors that just want marketing advice. And so I offer packages for that. And then I'm currently working on creating an online course that will literally walk the aspiring author through the process of self-publishing, how to do it. And I'm going to do a combination of video and handouts so that they'll have the tools in order to do it and get it done, just like I'm right there with them. So that's what I'm currently working on now, and that'll be out in the fall of this year.
Great. So that'll be out in the fall where people can take an online course.
Yep. So they still have if they want to reach out to me for one-on-one, they're still welcome to do that. Or if they prefer the course, the best way they could either if they want to email me, my email is kimbrooks@kimontheweb.com. And then if they want to, know about the upcoming course, then they can go on kimontheweb.com and then check off the box that says, keep me posted on your publishing advice or something like that. Check off anything that's related to publishing and aspiring author. And then you'll be notified as soon as it's out.
So right now, before the course is launched, you are open to doing book coaching. Is that a one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, I still book coach. I still have clients that I see periodically do one-on-ones through Zoom.
Okay. Now, does it matter? I know your story, you're Christian based. Does it matter if they're a Christian based author, fiction, nonfiction?
It doesn't matter, but all of my clients have been Christian. A lot of them people that are already kind of connected with me in some way or heard of me or on my email list, but you don't have to be. If you're an atheist, if you're talking about Satanism or something, agree to that one.
Okay. No, I know that you're not. I respect your position, your story, your message. So I was just, people. I have viewers from different backgrounds, and I just wanted to know: do you work with, does it have to be Christian based, or does it?
I haven't turned anyone down yet. So
okay, all right, just putting it out there. Okay. Great. So you do one-on-one book coaching, and they can send out that email that you gave out to, and then they can schedule, I guess, do your Calendly or.
Then I'll reach back out.
And you set up time. Okay. All right. That's great. I wanted to talk about the KD. I think it's. Go ahead.
Put in there interested in book coaching in the subject line. That way I'll open it.
Okay. So interested in the email, interested in book coaching. Okay. Do you show people how to get their ISBN number for their self? Okay. As a process.
A to Z. Yep.
Okay. All right. And explain a little bit about the Amazon's KDP program. How does I know there's different things they do. You mentioned you could help someone to show how they can have a successful run on Amazon.
Yeah,
What is?
that's definitely through the course.
Oh, okay. So is there certain things, certain pointers, marketing tips that you give in the course, or?
Yeah,
Okay, that's awesome. So you help them with the Amazon presence,
yeah. I
and
show
also.
them A to Z how to set up their book for sale. I mean,
Mhm.
if you go to kdp.amazon.com, they do have a quick video, just a little quick promo, little 1 minute video. But it'll say something like create your title, paperback, hardcover. Because the interesting thing is Amazon used to work with CreateSpace,
Okay.
and they were a third party vendor that they would use for their paperback books. And Amazon with KDP, if you remember, they mainly just did the ebooks.
Right.
Amazon, they were like, wait a minute now, they probably saw the success of CreateSpace. So now they kind of pushed CreateSpace out the way. And now Amazon does their own also paper book and hardcover. So with kdp.amazon.com, you can publish your ebook, paperback book, and then they're in testing for hardcover. A lot of
Okay.
people don't do hardcovers. Like this is the hardcover of, so when my book was picked up by BET Book, they redid the cover. They tried to
Okay.
make the characters look similar. And so this is actually a hardcover version when it was picked up by BET.
Mhm. Okay.
So but a lot of people don't really do hardcover books because they're more expensive to produce.
Right. Right.
So a lot of people don't want to charge people $25 for a book. But if it's hardcover, your per book cost would be that much higher because it's a hardcover book. So most people do paperback books, which is fine. But yeah, so I would walk the person through, like, because one thing
Okay.
with Amazon, you got to make sure you have good keywords and good categories. And you want to be as specific as possible as far as your niche. You want to kind of, like I say, niche it down to where you know who your target audience is. I mean, so often as writers, of course, we want everyone to read our book. But at the end of the day, I always call it, pretend like you're writing for one. Act like you're writing for one person. If you're writing, with that in mind, who would that person be? What would they look like? What's their gender? Where do they live? Where do they shop? What's their income level? Who's that one person that you're writing for? And then you'll find that one person represents thousands of people. And so when
Right.
you're coming up with your keywords and your categories, things like that, those are some things you want to keep in mind. And then also a quick tip for keywords. You want to make your keywords based off of what people are searching for so they can find your book. Because the keywords is kind of like, I know you're familiar with YouTube, so you know how like you got your algorithm, things like that.
Right.
So for Amazon, keywords are like the algorithm for Amazon.
Okay.
So based on what you put as your keywords, that's what Amazon uses to categorize your book with other books and also show your audience your book based on the keywords you use. So in my one-on-ones, I help people kind of hone in on what those should be, and also the categories too, which are important.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So you help people with using Amazon, how to self-publish, get where to go to get their copies done for the covers, and also the editing process. That's awesome. So, do you want to share any other before we wrap up? Upcoming projects, any major announcements you want to share with our audience, and then what you?
Announcements. So currently, what I do consistently now is I am a Christian online dating coach, and I started the group Something Else. Like I said, I just whatever God tells me to do, I just be obedient. So last October, he put it on my heart to start a group. It's a small group for women. It's like a support group for women who are using dating apps and online dating sites. And so or either those are thinking about it and just need support and assistance, guidance, navigation guidance, things like that. So what I do with the group is I offer coaching, online dating coaching, if you will, weekly. I share recommended dating sites and apps for those who are Christian and looking to date someone who is serious about a long-term relationship leading to marriage that is a true man of God, how to weed them out, how to And then the women, they share their updates and their dating outfits. So it's like a community. Like I said, it's a community where we have fun. And my announcement is I have my first marriage from the group. So I'm so excited. Like I said, group started last October. I'm not saying her name because I haven't gotten her permission to say it yet. I gotta reach out to her and be like, is it okay to say your name? But because it is a private group. But she let the group know on the live that we did last Thursday, that she got married in July. And she met her person in November, and they've been going out every day ever since. She's a single mom, and he told her, you are the cake, but your 9-year-old daughter is the icing, because he told her he was praying for someone that had a daughter that was of impressionable age. So I'm so excited.
Wow.
He's married, and then I have a few other members now waiting on them, because I got some that's been dating, over 8 months, and I told her, I said, you ain't invite me to the wedding. So I want to get a wedding invitation for these other people, because I know they're on that same path too. So I'm excited. So anyone interested in joining us, like I said, it's an intimate group, and I may not even do it next year.
Okay. How do they ask to be a part of the group?
So they would go to ChristianOnlineDatingCoach.com. Mm-hmm. And then everything's on my website, to make it easier. If they go to KimOnTheWeb.com,
KimOnTheWeb.com. Okay.
For the dating coaching, they'll find the way to put in their email to hear about the upcoming courses. They'll see how to connect with me on YouTube. So, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Any upcoming events or anything you want to share?
Well, next fall we're gonna have something exciting. I haven't announced it yet, but it's gonna be pretty huge here in the Metro Detroit area.
All right.
This fall, for the holidays, I normally do something for singles for like Valentine's Day and Sweeties Day, the holidays where we're pretty much forgotten about. So I try to, keep us encouraged. So I am, thinking about something for Sweeties Day this year. So stay tuned, join my email list and get my daily devotionals. And that way you'll be able to find out what's going to happen for those holidays and upcoming events.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate all the work that you're doing in serving our community and serving Christian singles. That's a great ministry there. Just wish you continued success in what you're doing. Our show is not only just about providing great information to our viewers and providing difference makers from Detroit, an area of entrepreneurship and community involvement, but it's also a way to celebrate you, give you your flowers while you're here. And it's our way of showing our appreciation of your contributions in the city. So I want to say thank you again. And just for being on the show. You've already shared about your website.
$1 million. Right?
Yeah. So share one more time your website. Is it Kim on the Web?
You got it.
Is it .com? KimOnTheWeb.com. So everybody knows you want to find out what she's doing. If you're like myself, I'm looking to work on a book next year. If you're looking to publish, so you want to take her course that she's going to be releasing in the fall, you can check that out on KimOnTheWeb.com. So when she does her announcement, if you're looking for you can email her also if you're looking for direct book coaching. So to take you through that whole process, so she can help you become a bestseller like she has. Yeah. So, yep. All right. So that wraps things up for our live today, our show today. I want to thank you again for viewing. Please like and share. If you find value in what we're doing, I definitely encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm constantly bringing you difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. I got some guests all booked up through August and working on September. Some exciting guests that you want to hear, and definitely appreciate your support. All right, so that wraps things up. Everyone have a good evening.